And there's people draining the bull for taurine
Yeah,
tablets.
just whacking off a load of...
Jacking off balls.
Jacking off.
Welcome to CREWCast Shorts.
Well, have you ever seen
We're
a bull-
going.
have you ever
We're
seen a-
going.
Jacking off balls.
Jacking off
You ever,
balls.
you ever seen a video of someone jacking off a bull?
No.
Well, the bull semen is worth a lot of money.
Just ruined my Google search and how
Well,
because I'm going to have to see it.
it's like a huge condom, and it's a
Oh,
So-
they're doing it for legit
it's
reasons.
a semi sort
okay.
of cow, not a real one, and then as it's
Oh,
about
yeah,
to
yeah,
jump up, someone's like, "Oh, get in there."
Oh, yeah, I think I
Yeah,
might
somebody
have seen somebody
intercepts.
do
They
that.
do the same with horses and stuff, don't they?
Yeah.
They guide it into the fake
Studding.
horse vagina instead of the real one. Anyway, we're not meant to be tangenting because this
What,
is a short.
what have you been watching? Yeah.
So we're back with the second of the new series of the CREWCast Shorts, which should be coming to you as this one is every single Thursday. These are short episodes, around about 20 minutes, where we cover a single topic quite specifically with limited tangenting.
Yes.
And we are carrying on with Mr. Imran Khan, who's our TRT doc specialist. And we are going to be covering what, sir, in this one?
How to increase your testosterone naturally.
So these are going to be dietary and supplementary things
yeah.
that people can be doing to help boost natural testosterone. So none of your nonsense. What was that stuff? Everyone, tribulus, which you would have had to have dosed at 5 times what they recommended on the bottle for it to be of any use, and was only ever tested in mice.
Or
And didn't,
desiccated bull's testicles, which you can still buy online.
is that is that a thing?
Yeah.
What's
Desiccated bull
Why
testicle.
someone
Because-
obsessed with bulls?
Because you see,
testicles at the moment.
when I was 17, my first supplement I ever bought was desiccated bull testicles. And it was a little tub, and you used to have a little spoon, and you put it into milk
Yeah.
and drink it. Because you figured out a bull's massive, he's big, he's got big balls. It's got to be good for you.
Got to be the
Yeah,
ball.
mate. Makes sense.
How can it not be good for you? The same marketing applies.
That's why you're
today.
so tall?
Yeah, the same.
It worked,
Yeah, the same marketing applies today on all supplements.
Yeah.
Same. It has to be good for you.
Yeah.
Right. So, how to increase testosterone naturally? Now, with certain conditions, there's nothing much you can do naturally. You have to have it as an intervention. Okay, but there are certain things which will help. One of the things which does help, and on our website there's a paper on it, and it's got all the references on there, etc.
We'll can we link that?
Yeah.
So if you send me the link
Yeah.
on WhatsApp, I'll link it.
The first
in
thing is
description.
exercise and lifting weights.
Activity, being active.
Being active. Now, one of the things, the reason why weights help is that your body has its own homeostasis. It has to balance itself always. It'll produce certain hormones in times of stress, and exercising is considered to be a physiological stress. And there's plenty of evidence that your body will increase testosterone to cater for the extra load you're having. So your central nervous system has to respond, and one of the things it does, it causes an increase in testosterone. So people who are not doing any weight at all, even if you put them into your routine 1 day a week or twice a week, it will help.
So resistance training of some
Yeah.
form.
Okay. Number 2, low carb diets reduce testosterone. Okay, so extremely low carbs, keep to about 100, even on a low carb diet. There's no look, without going into too much detail as keto, what's better, keto, low carbs, high carbs, whatever, it doesn't actually make much sense to be on zero carbs.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, you need to have between 70 and 100 grams a day to keep the brain functioning, and to have things like the process of osmosis for it to be more efficient, the absorption of nutrients to be more efficient, and
What about hydration?
hydration will come in lots of water. Yeah, you're not going to have any nutrient transferring through unless there's enough hydration.
Yeah.
So all nutrients are going through water, and your body is, considering that most of your body is comprised of water. Now, so having
Low carb diet is
low
not,
carb doesn't
not
make sense. So
ideal.
keep it good fats, proteins, carbs. They all help. So good nutrition helps to have better testosterone. Now it also stops having deficiencies, quite clearly. So definitely for a fact, vitamin D3 should be taken with K2, because low D3 has a detrimental effect on testosterone. That's a fact. That's known. It can't be debated.
And you were saying somewhere between 5,000 and 10,000 IUs.
Yeah, as I said earlier, yeah. So for the more active people, 10,000, the older people, 10,000, those with darker skin, 10,000, those from Africa or Asia, at least 10,000. If you're intensive exercise like MMA, you should be having 10,000.
Cool.
Okay? Now, the other thing is zinc. Zinc should be also taken. Okay.
Massive for general cellular repair.
General health, but cellular activity, but also helps boost testosterone. Selenium. Selenium is another one. Selenium, in very, very simple terms, it's used as a hormone regulator, if you like, without going into too much detail. The best source of selenium are Brazil nuts. Have 2 a day. Of course, if you're allergic to nuts, don't have 2 a day.
Yeah, that's right. I just supplement.
Yeah.
Selenium's dirt cheap as well, isn't
It's
it?
dirt cheap, yeah.
Well, if you get a very good multivit, they can often have selenium in them.
The thing is, I don't really like multivitamins
I don't
for
like
that reason.
multivitamins,
I'd rather pick exactly what I want.
Solga is a good brand, expensive brand in comparison to the cheaper ones. But the reason I say that, there was a university which had studied several companies, and Solga had come fairly high on the top for actually having what they said they had in there.
What, for multivitamins?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Now, stress. Stress is bad for everything. Okay.
How bad is cortisol? Because everyone demonizes cortisol.
Look, you have to have a certain amount of physiological stress to function.
Yep.
So we all thought to have zero cortisol is, of course, is crap.
Nonsense. Yeah, we need it. We need some.
You need it,
cortisol.
or you'd be dead.
Yes.
Those people who've got zero are generally the ones who are dead. Okay, so it's not.
It's like those other people that claim to be 3% body fat. We're like, oh, cool. So you're dead then.
Yeah. So you're dead, yeah. Okay. Or the apple diet. I've had one apple, or I haven't eaten for 3 years. You're generally fucking dead.
Yeah.
So that doesn't really happen. Now, so you have to have a certain amount of physiological stress to function, and that's why the stress hormones work in the certain way they do. If that stress is more than you can handle physiologically, and you start getting anxiety, and this is very it varies. Some people work fantastic in stress environments, other people don't. Some people with certain anxiety disorders, I wouldn't even say they're behavioural issues. Some people are just like that. Some people like to work alone. Other people are more sociable. Some people are great in a crowd. Others aren't in a crowd. They get stressed in a crowd. Whatever things you have. But when you pass a certain threshold and the cortisol gets too high, it will lower testosterone.
Yeah.
Okay, one of the ways it does it becomes a vasoconstrictor.
It's a little bit close.
Sorry, you get what we want is dilated blood vessels. Stress will cause a constriction, and this is one of the reasons you say when you're under stress, go for a walk, have some cold water, go for a walk, relax yourself, get the vessels back. Now, so high stress will reduce testosterone, okay, and it's hormones are reduced, which will produce, which will specifically reduce testosterone. Again, it's not enough time to go into each of the hormones, but if somebody wants to know, I'll put up a flow chart which will demonstrate it. Now, sleep is very important.
Huge.
Okay, now,
is this just sleep, or are we talking sleep and recovery?
Well, recovery is common sense. It's clearly, if you're not recovering from a particular workout, and we're not talking about just weights, anything. You'll recover if you get a good night's sleep. Your body produces growth hormone, several other hormones. If anything, it's like plugging a battery in. You get recharged again for the next day of crap. Okay, basically.
Yeah.
Now, if you're not sleeping enough, your body's going to be under stress, back to the cortisol.
Right?
You're not recovering, your muscles aren't recovering, your body's not recovering, and you're not replenishing all the sort of cellular damage from the day before or the weeks, etc.
Yeah.
So if you look at people who haven't slept, who aren't good sleepers, generally speaking, they, you
can see it on them.
I was going to say, you can see it on them. Now, one of the other things...
Or sleep, what was the sleep? Is it was a set amount of...
This varies person to person. If you wake up and you're fresh, if you sleep 5 hours a day and you wake up, you're fresh, that amount is for you.
My uncle used to sleep like 5 hours. He'd get up at 5 a.m. every day, no matter what. He was all his life. Cousin was the same. Zombie.
Yeah. And if you need 7 hours to be fresh, you need 7. If you need a nap during the day, that's what you need. So
how much would you rate napping, power napping?
I think it's great.
It's a definite... I mean, it's been proven to show that it
makes a massive difference, doesn't it?
Improvement in cognitive function,
also the
energy
little
levels.
spurt of GH when you're asleep.
Yeah. What about sleeping pre-workout? Like before working out and things like that?
I was actually listening to something that LeBron did, and he always gets his 8 hours, so he gets his 8 hours sleep every single night, and he works his entire schedule around his sleep, and then he has his pre-training or pre-game nap for 2 hours. Well, it's not a nap, because it's 2 hours. So he sleeps 10 hours
Yeah.
a day,
Yeah.
and everything has to fit around
the
that.
sleep.
All of his training, his schedule works backwards based on his sleep.
Yeah.
That's how much he prioritises it.
And it works for him because, again, the recovery he's getting to his body. And LeBron is LeBron. He's not like your average athlete.
No.
You know, and with a lot of these super athletes, you find these patterns in them. Peter Sampras used to sleep a lot.
Sampras, wow.
Yeah.
Remember that game?
And I mean, that's how old I am, but he used to sleep a lot. And he would wake up 30 minutes before a game to warm up. Now,
He was dominant, though, wasn't he?
and he's dominant for a long time.
Yeah.
Another thing now is vasodilators. Citrulline, arginine.
Yeah, arginine,
very,
yeah.
very good. Cialis, not so much for the...
That's one of the other things I take to Delph.
Yeah, not one of the things for sexual performance, but more as a vasodilator. It's great. Now, if you smoke, again, if you suffer from stress, other factors, the older you get, your veins can constrict, and it allows for a better blood flow. And if you get a better blood flow, you may not have all the factors we've discussed, they may be causing low testosterone.
Yeah.
Physiologically, your levels may be fine or borderline, but when you implement these changes and these, like people talk about, like for example, oysters traditionally they're good for you. They're good for you because they contain zinc. Okay. Now boron is an interesting one. So boron there's not much clinical evidence that boron works in humans. However, anecdotally, a lot of people swear by boron. Okay, so this is a really interesting one. Within sports science, nutrition, there isn't much, like I said, there's not much evidence that it works. A lot of the academics will say, look, it doesn't. But anecdotally, a lot of athletes take, and they feel the
just because
difference.
there's not enough studies to show us
Which
otherwise.
really means there's not enough studies on this.
Yeah.
It's something which needs more of an interventional research to look at that, and we need it more longitudinally to see if it works or not. But if it works for you, why not?
What would the supposed benefits of it?
For production of testosterone.
That's the main focus for
That's
it.
what I was
Yeah.
taking.
Now there's something called. It was just on the tip of my tongue, which went. It is called. I freaking make it, and I've just forgotten it. Maritime bark extract.
Oh, okay.
Maritime bark extract is obviously a bark, and maritime is an extract from the bark, right? But when this is combined with citrulline or arginine, it causes a much better vasodilation, and independent studies have shown it can also increase testosterone.
As a byproduct of helping with the vasodilation.
Yeah. Okay. It's actually a chemical reaction occurs, and it can increase testosterone. I've done a study on this personally. Out of 100 people, 67 people had more than a 2 nanomole rise in testosterone.
Okay.
Okay, so that's
Substantial.
Well,
Isn't it?
you know what? When you're
quantitative,
borderline, it's massive.
Yeah.
It's like it's huge when you're borderline. Other practical things: tight jeans, no.
Too many hot baths on a regular
Too many
basis.
hot baths,
Basically
too
cooking
many
balls.
saunas.
Yeah.
Sitting in hot tubs for too long.
Steam room, same problem.
Probably less so because it's more of it's not surrounding your balls.
What about ice in the testicles? Now,
This is
that's
supposed to
something
be a
that's
good thing,
Yeah,
isn't it?
there's talk of this now, isn't there?
There is, but I don't know. On that, I don't know.
Again,
to be honest.
anecdotal at this
Yeah,
stage.
I mean, to be honest, I don't know. I haven't looked into that.
What would be the theory of the benefit of it?
I think what it would be that everything would constrict, and then when you go to normal, everything would open up and more antibodies and more blood
similar
flow.
to
and-
relieving fatigue in the muscles.
Yeah.
It's exactly
Yeah.
what we were talking about, the potential benefits of hot and cold therapy, all the kind of growth factors that get flushed
Yeah.
into the area.
But-
Same thing
yeah.
for
And
your nuts.
there's if you go to like ResearchGate, which has a lot of good peer-reviewed studies. I mean, for all the arguments pro cold showers and ice, you've got exactly the same for the opposite.
Yeah.
And you really don't know now. Now, one of the things is for example, did like the original boxers, Muhammad Ali's era, Marvin Hagler, Roberto Duran, they were very much into after training going into a barrel of ice.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Angelo Dundee would say that was to toughen them up.
Yeah.
There's a mental thing.
It was a mental thing, so I don't know. I don't know on that. Now, one of the things which I just want to point out here is that there's many young boys, young kids, You know, they were riding their bikes, it may have damaged their testicles, crashed into the handlebars.
Every week.
Yeah,
Every week.
So that may have caused a scar tissue.
Yeah, it's just things that people don't think about.
Right. Now, we've come across
Horse
this with a
riding,
professional.
shit like
Yeah, horse
I did
riding.
that as well, fuck.
You fell down. You got,
Your balls are riddled with fibrosis.
Just like,
you know, you got kicked in your testicles.
I'll go
yeah,
kicked in
that
the
happens
nuts.
a lot.
You fell-
Football,
You're
rugby,
fucked, right? You are.
every single one of these.
Yeah.
Jesus
You
Christ.
fell down.
Have you been
So-
used as a speed bag?
So that may have damaged, that may have damaged in the cells for fertility and also for testosterone. So that's something which, sometimes everything is good, but then the best thing is just to have an ultrasound done or an MRI done to see how much scar tissue you've got and how the sort of movement.
What are the
is.
chances of getting that on the NHS?
Oh, this is a fucking $1 million question. These days, I mean, I think if you were dying, you probably couldn't get an appointment, to be honest. But
You have to have a very good doctor.
yeah, the NHS system is this. You go to the doctor, you feel you've got low testosterone, low fatigue. Now, if he's a good doctor, he'll get a blood test done, but they don't do a prolactin test, generally speaking, and you have to do a prolactin test. So the doctor will get a blood test done, and then he will then refer you onto an endocrinologist. An endocrinologist can take up to 18 months. And I'm just saying what generally happens from the feedback we get from all the people we work with. The endocrinologist will then say, let's have another blood test, and then he'll say, right, or she'll say, come back 6 months later, we'll do another blood test. So now this could be from 0 to 18 months to 2 years. And then they'll say, right, okay, we're going to put you onto Nebido. Nebido is
Nabido.
yeah, Nebido, Nebido. And that's one shot every 3 months or every 4 months. Okay, it's a 4 ml injection, a very slow injection has to go in, and it has different esters of testosterone. And off they send you home. Now, Nebido is a very cheap, cheerful method for the NHS. The problem with Nebido is you get the initial burst. Now, for older people, it may be suitable for much older people. So you get a burst, and then it sort of goes down. So you might feel great for a few weeks, and then that's it. Now, or they may give you gels, which we've already discussed, may not be great. Now, then, every three or 4 months you go and you have that injection done. The other alternative is Testosterone, which is cheap and cheerful, but it works. One shot every 2 weeks or one shot every 3 weeks. The problem is that doctors aren't keen on prescribing this. Now, the other one of the side effects you may get, and not everybody gets it, but you may get it, is polycythemia, idiopathic polycythemia, which is thickening of the blood, a higher hematocrit and red blood count. Now, that's obviously not good. It's not a huge amount it thickens by. It's not like it becomes syrup or jam, but it can raise. Up to 3 years ago, you could go to the NHS and have your blood drawn, and it wasn't a problem. You could go in, you'd get a card, go to the wards, they'll drain your blood every 3 months, and you were great. Now they don't do this, so now they'll take you off the testosterone.
Rather than deal with the higher.
Rather than deal with it, yeah. This is not this. They were doing this before COVID, so it's nothing to do with COVID. It was happening before COVID. So in that case now, you can either get a private venosection and have blood drawn, but then you have to be dishonest to the doctor that you can't tell them I had this, which I'm not going to encourage. Privately, it's a different ball game altogether. So privately,
Pay for whatever you want, aren't you?
all private clinics, because you're paying for it, they cater for the lot of it. They do all of it. And this is where these nuances exist within the NHS. So if you tell them things like, look, I've had anxiety, I've split with my partner, I'm stressed, you'd automatically get an antidepressant without looking at testosterone. So you have to ask for a testosterone test and a full hormone panel, not just testosterone. You have to literally say, this is what I want. They may say, fine. They may say, listen, we're not going to do it.
Yeah, it's a battle. I know it's a different battle. It's very smart to do your research and list all of the things that you've got wrong and the way you're feeling, and don't just accept, take a break, try and sleep a bit more, have a look at your diet. Whenever they said, no, my diet's done, I know my body, I know this feels wrong.
You need to go in almost knowing exactly what they're going to be asking you, so you can kind of already have checked that off the list and tell them, I've already done that, I've already done that. And also, like you said, sometimes you'd have to push it because they'll be like, okay, we're going to get this test, but it might not have all the information that you need. So, you know, I think with maybe a bit of persuasion, if you're lucky.
Well, see, I know for a fact that some doctors will not do a prolactin test. They will not do a free antigen test. They just don't do it. They say, go get that privately and then come back to us.
And a lot of the times as well, you have to fight to even get your results. So if you have had a blood test, make sure that you're actually saying, I want to see my results. I don't want to be told, yes, I'm fine or whatever. I want to see the breakdown of everything I was tested for and the numbers.
Now,
so
doctors
that then you can pass that on.
Doctors, as far as I know, they don't have to give you a copy of their blood
No,
results.
but I know that you can request it, and then what they do is they give you a code to sign into an app, which you can then download.
Which you then write, which you have to write to them.
Yeah, you do.
Now that can take
In
apparently
this fucking day and age, you have to write to them.
1 day to 8 weeks.
So
Now, if you're suffering, 8 weeks is a long time. Now, privately, none of these things exist. You have to have one blood test. You have to have a second blood test to verify the result. You get a prescription. Off you go. If your blood thickens up, you get a venous section. Blood is drawn out, taken out. That's it. The difference is privately, you have to unfortunately pay for it, and on the NHS you don't. Well, what I think will happen, the model, I think within 3 or 4 years, it'll be moved to complete private completely.
Yeah.
The National Health don't want the hassle of it.
Yeah, and they're not, the way that they have to work due to the money limitations and everything, it's just not optimised for the patient either.
Yeah, and within
It's not the best
because you have to
procedures.
remember, for females, it took a long time for HRT to be recognised, a long time, and now it is. But females will only get it for 5 years. After 5 years, they don't get it.
Where's the logic in that?
Well, they say it's a risk of breast cancer and other things. You have to have a very flexible doctor to do that. They can do it, but the guidelines suggest that they don't. So these are also problems as well.
Well, that was an interesting one.
Yeah.
It's already 20 minutes.
We tangented away from the actual kind of natural test things that we can do. Is that like, was there anything else?
Well, there's things like ashwagandha. There's some evidence ashwagandha may help.
Well, it's worth taking that anyway because there are many benefits to ashwagandha.
I think ashwagandha is a miracle. In India, Pakistan, etc., people have been drinking that for centuries. Other countries for centuries, it was just in tea. So I remember talking to a guy about 20 years ago, and he said, "Hey, look, this ashwagandha," and someone said, "Listen, my dad's been drinking that for 40 years."
Yeah.
Is that what what are
Same
you
with
talking
the
about?
turmeric in milk. That's another one.
Turmeric in milk.
Anti-inflammatory.
Saffron as well.
Saffron
Worth more than
has
gold.
great therapeutic benefits.
I've started taking saffron as well.
Saffron.
You prosh bagger.
Real saffron is, I think, more expensive than gold.
As it is, it's worth more than gold.
Yeah, and the
This
best.
is why it was so
weight.
fucking expensive to supplement.
The best.
A kilo for kilo.
The Spanish saffron is crap. The real saffron is a Persian saffron, Iranian-Afghan border, Russian border, and one strand may be like 30, 40 quid. And tiny bit has huge mental properties, therapeutic. It was always considered a herb or a spice for the royalty. It was the king's spice and a great aphrodisiac and lots of benefits to it. And definitely for anxiety, it does help.
Yeah.
I mean, I know this. It does help for anxiety. You just literally make it like a saffron tea, and it does help. But just a tiny bit.
So there you go.
Yeah.
Lots of little handy hints there to help with the old natural boosting. Couple of
And also
hints
stay
and
happy.
tips. Yes, yeah. I think that's one of the biggest things is if your mood is elevated, the rest of things will fall into place a little bit easier as well.
Try to.
Even if anecdotally maybe ashwagandha or saffron doesn't help with your testosterone directly, indirectly it may well have great benefits.
Look, I think generally trying to be happy. I know it's hard to be happy in this miserable, sad, crappy existence we're
As
all
the
in.
news would have you believe.
Yeah, but there's joy in small things. Sometimes the smallest of things it can be joyful. So try to be, if you can, everybody try to
Put
be
a little
happy.
bit of happiness out to it. It's like ripples in a pond. You just a little bit of happiness and it just out it goes. It spreads.
Amen,
So the
brother.
more people that do that, the more ripples we create and the happier.
Yeah,
we
I think
get.
you'd be surprised as well at how much your influence can actually impact other people.
Oh, yeah.
And that can be reciprocated. So you deliberately making an effort to be happy and try and be nice to other people, that's a conscious effort from you. But a lot of the time they'll reciprocate that, which will then in turn make you feel happy because they're being nice back.
Yeah.
So it's like you have a lot more control over the external happiness around you.
Yeah, it's the whole thing of in the north when people say in the south people just walk past each other in the street. In the north people say morning.
They do talk. This is absolutely. I
Good morning.
got lost in Newcastle. Can you believe someone like me, looking like me, got lost in Newcastle, raining? I said, "This woman, excuse me, I'm trying to get here." She said, "Love, open the door. I'll sit with you, and I'll take you where you've got to go." What are the odds of an old deer
Getting in at 6'6",
sitting in my car, and I'll take you there.
Yeah.
I mean, what a great woman.
Yeah.
I mean, absolute legend. What are the odds of that?
I've got one, which goes against what I just said about London. I was in London trying to get to, it was like a photo shoot somewhere weird in like the outer bits of London that no one ever goes to. And I was trying to get on a bus that I knew got me roughly near it. And at the time I didn't know that buses in London now run on these cards. Okay. You can't pay with money. You have to have a travel card. I didn't know that. So I got onto the bus. The driver was behind like an 8-foot bulletproof screen. Yeah. And I was trying to speak to him. And he went, wait. And I didn't understand what was happening. He was like, where are you going? And I told him, he went, well, it's not on the route, but I'll take you there. He diverted the whole bus. Yeah. Because I just, what a dude. Yeah, so he was like, he was like, it's off my route, but I can be on my route and do it with you. So he diverted this entire bus to drop me off outside where I needed to.
I feel like this was the fucking bus in Harry Potter.
I know. And I
Take it away, Ernie.
I got off the bus and there was like nobody there for me to tell this, to like verify this story. I was like, this bus should not be here right now. This dude just dropped me off for free, didn't have to pay for it, and diverted his entire bus route. I was like, what a legend. So, that's what I mean. He was a little bit of happiness in an otherwise kind of semi-miserable place.
And just another tip on happiness, and again, it seems quite silly, but you'll often hear people saying, look, I've got nothing to be happy about. Well, think about to your childhood and the things which made you happy. So if it was, for example, you had a canary and you were happy, or football cards, or you like drawing or painting or reading, go back to those things.
Sorry.
You know what? Go back to the things which made you happy. There's one of our guys, he said he always wanted to keep different types of cactus. Yeah. And so I said, why don't you do it? And he said, I've never thought about it since then. And then he went off. He bought different ones, and he started sort of growing them and do whatever you do with them. Yeah. And that was his joy now.
Gave him focus.
Yeah. And why not? And why not?
That's very, very true. The little things can go a long way. One thing I started implementing is a gratitude board. It's just on the fridge, and every day when you go down, in the end of the day, before you go to bed, you just write down what you're grateful for that day. And you know what? It doesn't have to be anything big. It can be the fact that you have a car. No matter how beat up that thing is, a car that can get you to work, get you to the store, get you to food.
Third class driving is better than first class walking.
Water. Access to water. You can't think of anything good. I'll tell you one thing good. You have a tap that has free flowing water coming out of it to hydrate you when you need it. That is something to be fucking grateful for.
Yeah, not everybody has that.
No, they don't. And you have a roof over your head, food in your belly, somewhere warm to sleep. All of these small things, you start taking appreciation back for those little things. You start to build a happier profile throughout your days, and you'll slowly be able to build on these smaller things up to the bigger things.
Without being political, I mean, I've been to Palestine, and a room smaller than this with wooden boxes and then a piece of wood and a blanket on for a mattress, and in the corner a blue, the oil barrels, the blue ones. That was where there was water, and the poor family had to queue up for 2 or 3 hours a day just to get water. They were cooking in that room, sleeping in that room.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And communal toilets used by like 400 or 500 people. Yeah. And they'd been there for decades. So, at times when we're feeling down, it's hard to be grateful. It's hard to be acknowledged. But we've got our eyes, we can walk, we can talk, we can communicate, we've got food in our belly, we've got a roof over our head. It's better than a lot of people in the world. Yeah, it's true. And it's sometimes just about perspective.
I was going to say, I think that... getting perspective sometimes can help massively with appreciating the little things that we take for granted.
Yeah, I think we'll end it there.
Yeah, we'll wrap it up.
Lovely one there. Well, with a small little tangent at the end, just to be included.
There'll never actually be one that there isn't at least one tangent.
That's it. Hope you enjoyed the CREWCast shorts. Remember, if you can, rate us, leave us a comment, whatever it is that you can do to help whatever platform you're listening on. We do appreciate it all. And have a great rest of the week, and we'll see you in Monday's episode as always. Until then, toodle pip.